Hello, Gary.
Hey, Guy.
We're both speaking from new places today.
Yeah, I'm in my new studio, so I'm sort of in a technical panic because I've got no engineer here, and hoping that this all survives a recording. It's what I don't want to get to the end.
You've never had an engineer for Rockonteurs?
No, but someone who can come in and help me here right now because I have equipment, and I have equipment fear.
Yes, I think maybe an emotional support animal would be better.
Do you know what? They wouldn't let my peacock in.
Molts terribly. Well, I'm in my new studio as well, so this is nice, isn't it?
What have you got? Because all I can see are the box files and one of David's guitar copies.
My David replica black Strat. And my nice new precision bass. You can't. It was all whited out. I'm probably going to turn the whole desk around because you're looking out of my sort of French windows at the moment onto the garden.
Yeah, very nice.
Very nice. But anyway, Terry Reid.
Yes, an enigma, I think it's fair to say.
An enigma wrapped up in a puzzle, wrapped up in a mystery.
Yeah. Do you know what? He's an amazing character. And for those who know Terry Reid, his music is extraordinary. I mean, he's known as Superlungs because he has the most incredible voice. Listen, Aretha Franklin said this in 1968. She said, "The Beatles, Rolling Stones and Terry Reid were the best of England."
Wow, where did you find that?
One of my researchers brought it to me. Yeah.
I would say, and I'm wondering if it's worth putting this to him, I would say there's a parallel between his career and Jeff Beck.
Yeah.
Because it's that thing of he was very much his own man. But what's really nice is that because of his talent and the ways of it is that sort of life has been kind in that stuff keeps getting picked up right up till now.
That's right.
He keeps having songs being rediscovered and recovered and
in movies.
It's nice. Yeah. A lot of movie. He gets a lot of movie action.
But let's not forget, fantastic guitar player, fantastic singer. Made some fantastic solo albums, very much in the vein of sort of white R&B, Steve Marriott type vocal.
Robert Palmer, I'd say, at some point in the mid-70s, a lot of crossover there.
And the two big moments that everyone talks about, obviously, he was Jimmy Page's first choice for Led Zeppelin. And obviously that didn't work out because Terry said, "You don't want me. I know just the bloke you need." But we'll get.
And you know what? He was right.
Yeah, of course. He was also Richie Blackmore's first choice for Deep Purple, or second choice, I should say, second choice instead of Ian Gillan, because there was already a singer who sang for Deep Purple who I can't name right now.
No, I can't either.
But if we ever find a time machine and bring Richie Blackmore back from medieval times, we can ask him.
Forward, you mean?
Backwards, I don't know. I don't know.
He can bring his crump on.
Listen, mate, I can't run my studio. I couldn't run a time machine. So I think Terry Reid is extraordinary. He lives in America, but he's from Cambridgeshire, and I think so his accent has gone a bit wobbly over the years. But he also was the musical act at Bianca and Mick's wedding.
Wedding, that's right.
Wow. So he's probably got some good stories.
So, yeah, exactly. So, yeah, don't call him the wedding singer.
Do you think he did true at the wedding?
Welcome to the Rockonteurs.
Okay, guys, I'm ready.
Well, it's a big tune for sure. I actually wrote that originally for Tina Turner.
Of course, I had gone and found Joni Mitchell down in Florida and brought her back.
I've listened to a few of them and they've been really good, man. I'm sitting in the back of the car coming into London. They're brilliant.
That caused a big problem in the band, actually. I was having too much fun.
Thank you guys for still being around, still making music, still being into it, and doing this podcast. It's fabulous.
Well, I get the feeling that us three should go for a pint. That's what I think.
I'm in a band now. It's called Roxy Music.
You know this thing about the 10,000 hours of experience?
Oh, yeah.
Get good at something. When we recorded Arnold Lane, we'd done about 50 hours.
The Rockonteurs podcast with Gary Kemp and Guy Pratt.
Keep on rocking!
Hello, Terry.
Hey, I know that voice.
There we go.
Looking very vibrant there, Terry, in your light.
Oh, yeah, so I don't get run over. Yeah.
Thank you for coming on Rockonteurs, Terry.
Yeah.
We've been trying to get you on for quite a while, you know.
Yeah.
Where are you, Terry?
Well, I'm out in let me see. It's called La Quinta, which is just a bit further on than Palm Springs.
Oh, okay.
Right. I tell you what, it's just over there. There's a hill between us and Coachella.
Oh, right.
Right. Right. So you can hear the low end on a good night when the wind's right.
Have you ever played that?
I played there. Well, yeah, one morning we did a thing with a band that I know there. Yeah, I haven't done it in my own right, but it's like Glastonbury, you know. I mean, it's 200 stages, and yeah.
Well, I don't know. I've done it, and I was amazed how completely.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
it?
I did it with Brian Ferry a few years ago.
Oh yeah, great.
And, but I was amazed at how different it is to Glastonbury because it's so well organised, and you drink here, and you take drugs here, and you do,
right,
and everyone's just sort of, and it's so hot, and no one's really out of it, which is kind of the whole point of festivals is looking for the most out of it person.
Yeah, that is pretty together, this one. You're right there. Yeah, you know. I mean, they got a lot of different disco stages and things. I suppose it's sort of, I just get a bit, they get to after Glastonbury, I got a little too much with too many stages, you know. But they do have it timed better, like you're saying. If you were with Brian, you know, obviously you'd get a better attention span where you were. You know what I'm saying?
You, Terry, you played one of the earliest Glastonburys, didn't you? Because there's footage.
It was I played the first one.
Because there's some great footage out there, which I think Nick Rogue shot.
That's right.
And it's of you in the most fantastic hat with this grown-out mod haircut, which I love.
Yeah.
And I think you do something with Linda Lewis, and you're playing with David Lindley as well.
Linda, I don't know. Everybody had took a various amount of chemicals, you know. So, we were all up there. We were well sailing by the time we got going on the song. And Linda decided, oh, I'll have some of that, you know. It's how you do. And she just, I look out of the corner of my right eye, and I go, oh, it's Linda. And she's up there on the stage, and she jumps in, and then it just turned into a whole fiasco, you know.
So, what was it like at that first Glastonbury? What was the vibe like?
It's real different than what it became, obviously. Yeah. But you know, when Mike Eavis first had the idea, and to have this whole thing in a field, as you well know, when you get down to Piltbury Downs, it's not one field; it's miles of undulating hills, and there was people sort of spread out for miles that you didn't realise till music started on that pyramid stage. You didn't realise that they came out of trees, they came over the hill. There really wasn't any fences or anything then. It was like it was like being in a Robin Hood movie or something. I don't know. It was like people were coming out of nowhere. Yeah. And even though there was nowhere near what it became, that amount of people, when it started, when we were about to go on stage, I thought, oh, I hope we do better than this. It's only like about 100 people out there. This is not really happening. So as soon as we got on stage, I mean, people came from nowhere.
Yeah.
There was a lot of fun. And my memory of the whole thing was, because it was very low key and everything, I remember the two people that I was hanging out with backstage was Steve Winwood, because of traffic. I'd known Steve since Spencer Davis, and David Bowie. I didn't really know David, and we struck up a thing talking backstage, and it went on because there wasn't really a lot of people. And it's funny because they were doing an interview with David, and they asked him the same question that you asked. What do you remember about Glastonbury? And funnily enough, I couldn't believe it when I read it. He said, well, I don't really remember much. You know, well, they were all a bit gone, you know. So he said, all I remember was talking to Terry for about an hour. He said, I don't remember what we were talking about, but we were having a lot of fun.
Oh, right. My God, that would have been the Space Oddity period, would it? Just around the time of having Space Oddity out.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, he was playing 12. He was playing 12 string and reciting poetry and things, right? You know,
in a dress. Yeah. Were you with Alan White and David Lindley at that?
That's right.
I mean,
yeah.
mate,
So our band was,
what a band!
Yeah,
it was killer.
And you know, God rest his soul, David Lindley. I mean, were you basically the first guy to work with him?
Alan too. Alan passed.
Oh,
too.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He passed last year, and then David passed just recently, a few months ago.
But I think what Guy was wondering is, were you the first guy to pick up on David Lindley? I mean, because I know obviously famous with Jackson Brown, wasn't it?
Yeah, Jackson Brown. Everyone.
You got it.
All the whole Laurel Canyon world was David Lindley was on.
Well, yeah, David. Well, David's not really Laurel Canyon. He's from Claremont, which is a different thing. That's more like, I don't know, you're familiar with things over it. That's like the old Hollywood, right? Claremont was, and Pasadena, you know, and that whole thing. It was where a lot of the movie stars lived, you know, right out of town. That was like the countryside.
Calabasas and all that,
Yeah, that's north, and this is south, southeast, see. So, you know, the thing is that I met David, it was before Jackson got that thing going on. And I was living out at a house out in Cambridgeshire, where I'm from. And I'm living out. Then we had the band. We were putting this band together. And a friend of mine, Chesley Milligan, who's not Reid, he's funny, God, Chesley, who worked with Stones, and we all knew each other, right? So he said, I've got just the musician for your band. I said, oh, really? He said, yeah, he plays with a group called Kaleidoscope in L.A. Now, if somebody said that to you and you were living in England, you'd think Kaleidoscope in L.A. Wait a second. Really rude. Now, I need a picture, first of all. You know, where are we going with this one? So he got a hold of David, and David sent me this letter, right, which was the funniest thing ever. He says, I would love to come over to England and spend time with you, join your band, and create wonderful music. He said, I can really be very helpful. These are the instruments I will bring. 2 pages of instruments. I think this guy's got to be joking. What do you mean? He plays all these instruments? This is before we spoke on the phone.
He owns all these instruments.
Yeah, and he owns them, and who's paying shipping? Right? You know, and it was everything from stars and oud and all these Turkish instruments and things, which I thought, well, I hope he's got a good case for them, because these are very fragile things. Now, the ironic thing was that I actually knew the instruments he was talking about, which at the time, not everybody was.
That's right, because you were into Bulgarian folk music, weren't you?
That's right. God, you got that right. Yeah, there you go. See, so over the years, which was earlier on, that was my big passion, was jazz and folk music from Bulgaria and Romania and Russia. And there's, you know, the tonality was getting
I wonder, because the Bulgarian, certainly the vocal, the choral music has amazing tonality. I can see that in your stuff.
Yeah, well, it's, you know, the Bulgarian Sofia District Choir. They were my favourite band, right? If you can put it like that. I actually
followed them everywhere.
I did. Oh, okay. I did. I saw him about 4 or 5 times, right? Saw him in England. I perform, and it's a, 50, 60, 70 people. I mean, it's a whole thing. And then I saw him at Royce Hall here at UCLA in Los Angeles. And I go and I think, God, how do I get a backstage pass? Here we go. So it's sort of like you use the Stones reality, you try and, but I don't know any of the roadies, right? So I'm batting around there, and suddenly this one guy who was there translator said, yeah, you come back with me. He said, but, behave yourself and all this. So, and I went, yeah, right, okay. So we go backstage, and of course, all the young girls that, in the chorus and everything and that, they're all giggling, and, this is all a bit different for them, right? And it's, rock and roll guys hanging out backstage. All of a sudden, here comes a big mama star, right? This big lady who gives me this look that would kill you, right? And she goes, help. Something in Bulgarian, which means get the, you know what, out of here, right? and they removed me. I got thrown out backstage at a Bulgarian concert. I mean, I never got to talk to anybody. Most of them didn't speak English anyway, because they had all these translators. But I must admit, that was one of the best things I've been thrown out
I was going to say, it's clearly a badge of pride, Terry. I could tell that.
It really was. It was. I've been thrown out of some worse places, but, that one topped it.
I just want to finish about David Lindley, because I think, am I right to say, Guy and Terry, he's a lap steel player?
Lap steel, mandolin.
Actually, he made the lap. He took the lap steel to a whole other thing, from it being a jazz bebop 9-string instrument, and he played a 6-string. He could play a 9 too, but there were very few people. And then there's the country thing, but then it immediately goes to pedal steel, which has pedals and levers and
so complicated. Pedal steel.
It's like driving a truck.
So hang on, is your reason for getting him in? Are you saying it was more of a jazz bebop sort of connection?
No. The reason I got him in was because I was writing all different. When you look back at some of them things, I was writing all different kinds of music. It was from Latin to the country, polka influence. I didn't want any ropes or ties on anything. I mean, I was writing in all directions, and it was a lot more fun to do that, right?
Right.
And with the ideas you had, you could tailor them to the, the thing. And I was looking for I was playing with the Lee Miles, the bass player. Me and Lee put the
that's another one.
Right.
Is this Ike and Tina Turner's?
Yeah,
Again, someone else you've been you're really good at getting people to come from America, which seems to...
Well... Yeah, he was over with Ike, and Ike was not too keen on the idea, but he'd been with Ike for a bit, and we played, I think it was the Revolution Club, and we played there, and Tina was really, she was always really sweet to me. She insisted that our band be the support band for her. I went, really? You're sure you really need a support band? Because there's about 30 of them, it's a whole review, right? And I very well know that there's really no dressing room at the Revolution Club. I don't know where you're going to put everybody. But the thing was very special that she asked me to do the show. And I had no idea. I played with Ike and Tina Turner before in, 1966, with the Stones. And they interchanged their people so often. Who's to say who will be in the band? But they went on stage, and this is the Lee Miles thing. And I took they started playing. I took one look at Lee and listened to him and went, oh my God, that's it. That is the quintessential R&B bass player. And he's my age. He was the same age. I think we were both about, 19, 20.
Nippers,
yeah. And it was a total music falling in love that way. And I went, Lee, God, we start talking. And I put it to him, would you be interested in coming to England? Which meant leaving Ike, right? And he goes, yeah, I'd love to. So we had the idea, it was a great idea.
Yeah, you wanted to get away from Ike.
yeah, you got it. Yeah, he took the car back. Politically, it was... Ike was a bit mean about it. He was always Ike was really nice to me. He asked me to join Ike Tina Turner at one time, right?
Wow.
I just didn't fancy the grey on bus.
Ike and Tina and Terry.
Ike and Terry. Tina and Terry.
No, that's a sitcom, surely. But listen, but it's quite interesting that you're picking up a lot of people that are in black soul music. Aretha, because
he was with the Kemps as well.
Aretha,
wow.
This is in your voice. Yeah. This is to do with your voice.
Me and Lee were like peas and carrots. I don't know what it was. It didn't matter what song I started playing or what lick I started playing. Lee was all over it. He still is. I still see him now, and I love him dearly.
That's lovely.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Oh yeah. We became we became real close brothers, but not just in the ethnic sense of it, just real bro. I'm an only child, and he's the closest thing that I've ever had to a brother. He really is. And the music, I mean, we just, we never. The trouble is we went, right, okay, so we're gonna need a drummer, right? Okay. Now, do we bring a drummer over? He'd been playing with James Gadson and Shoko Richardson and all these Louisiana drummers and things, which is a lovely idea. But we've already gone through this thing of getting around Ike. How are we going to get around another one, right? So we start auditioning drummers in England. Yeah, at least say, hey, man, let's audition. I'm like, okay, so we come up to the country. They come up. And when they heard about Lee Miles, they all want a bit of that. They go, oh, well, we'll do that. So they all tore up to audition. And even though Lee Miles and myself gelled just easily, right? I mean, everything was perfect. It was hard to fit a drummer and go all these different directions. Now, we're talking about probably some of the finest drummers in England, which is nothing to do with them. It was just something was going on between us that was a bit different, And there's only one guy that really sat down and nailed it, and that was Alan White, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. He sat down. We played about, 20 bars, and Lee goes, this is the man. And after, I think, 36 drummers, right?
Wow. Well, Alan was a great drummer. Did it?
Yeah, you got to the point where you could give up easy on that one.
Did it? Was it depressing? Was it annoying? I mean, how did you feel when Alan left and went to Yes? Because obviously Bill Bruford left Yes and went to King Crimson. And
I know. Well, we're in the studio doing an album called River, right? And Eddie Alford is producing the album. He's behind the window, okay? And David Lindley comes to me and says, because we'd been hanging out with Jackson. Jackson had been in England hanging out with us. And
Jackson Brown?
I know he was...
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So he was keen. He knew David, but he never played with him. But he was keen on, on the band, and he loved the whole thing. He was hanging out. We were all, hanging out together, doing gigs. And I knew he was keen on David, so I was keeping my eye on it. And then... he said he got a record coming out with Atlantic, right? And I said, oh, so we were working with Atlantic at the time with Ahmet Ergen. So I said, oh, here's that. He said, yeah, well, we'll see how it does. It might happen, as we all do, And that doctor my eyes, because the Eagles got hold of it as well. It went to #1. So that sort of literally put Jackson into a situation of we're going on tour, boom. That's it. That's the one thing you'd look for, right? No, you don't expect it to happen that quick. So Jackson came to me and said, look, I would really love David to do the tour. And I went, well, me and Lee looked at it. We worked so hard putting the band together. I said, when somebody wants to do something, you can't really stop it. I mean, it's silly to do that. You're better off to enjoy it,
Yeah.
So I said, yeah, you go. Yeah, that's good. 2 days later, Alan turns around to me. He said, well, how are we going to do any gigs? He said, I'll tell you what, I've had an offer. I don't know whether I should do it. And Eddie Alford's sitting there. And he said, yes, they've asked me to join. And I looked at Eddie Alford and went, well, how are we going to finish the album? Because if he's going, you're going. David's going. It's back to me and Lee Miles standing in a field, right? Literally. So that's basically what it all happened within about 4 days. Right?
You did finish that album. Yeah. It's a great album, really, isn't it? I mean, it's a fantastic
Well,
record.
we finished it in America. Ahmet Ergen said to me, he said, well, Terry, don't worry about it. Ahmet was always, a miracle, mate. I've never met anybody as musically skilled. Yeah.
If you got him on your side, then you're gonna be fine.
Didn't Tom Dowd finish it?
He was a realist. He'd look at things in a real way. None of all this bullshit of just, we got a problem there. And he never looked at things that way. He said, look, tell you what. So you and Lee are there. Now, he said, I'm sure Lee's getting fed up with that weather in England. And he said, tell you what, you like LA, don't you? And I said, yeah, I know. He said, why don't you just, I'll give you some money. I'll give you a bunch of money. I'll find you a place to live. Get on a plane. Get over here. And we'll figure it out. I'll find you another producer, you know, and but just take a few weeks off. Just come and hang out. Enjoy yourself. I'll give you the money, and we'll put it together and finish the album. Now, that's a lot more positive way of looking at something. Now, I know other people's careers where they've said, oh, well, you better figure out a way of finishing that one or we're going to sue you. You know what I mean?
But did he got you Tom Dowd to finish it? Is that what happened, Terry?
Yeah, he said, so I got a great idea for a producer. He said, Tom Dowd. What do you think? I went, you mean Aretha's producer? Wow. He said, yeah. He said, and Aretha thinks it's a great idea. I went, oh, well, because I knew Aretha from before that. So he said, yeah, she insists. She said it'd be a great thing, and he's not working with her at the moment. He's got a lot of time off. What do you think? I went, you mean the guy that recorded Midnight Hell with Wilson Pickett? Wow. Oh, my God. And so we got on like a house on fire. Yeah, so then Lindsley, when he came off the road, continued doing the album, right? And then we got Soko Richardson and James Gadsden on drums, which is what we talked about in the first place. So that was the full circle, and that was basically I moved to the States, and to me musically that was all of us, you know, it's sort of heaven, you know. I mean, I got to meet all these people that I got records of for years.
Tom Dowd, I mean, I think I'm right. Did Tom Dowd sort of invent multi-track recording? Is that
yes, he did. Him and Les Paul.
That's what. Yeah, you knew about Les Paul. Yeah.
Wow. What records?
The two of them together.
Oh, it's
that's
together.
How the Beatles. Oh. Yeah. Them two were like peas and carrots too. How do you cross those tracks and get that sound? That's fantastic. And he took John Lennon. He said, how are you using an 8-track? Right? And John Lennon goes, what 8-track? What's that? And they really didn't have one. Right? Yeah, this is all Sergeant Pepper, but you know what I mean. I can imagine the shot. So they flew over. Tom said to me, he said him and Les flew over to England with I think they took 2 of them over there. And the rest of that, all hell broke loose there.
Yeah,
oh dear.
Yeah.
You know.
Go on, Guy. What you saying?
Well, I was going to say no, because we've landed this sort of middle point. I'm wondering if Terry, we should take you back to the swirling mists of time, because I still love this fact that you were such a nipper when you start. You and you basically got latched onto by all these kids people who are like what 4 or 5 years older than you.
Everybody was older than me, it seemed, at one point. Yeah,
because you I mean, we'll talk about it briefly, because when you were the legend is that you were 14 when you wrote No Expression, and which is since, I mean, it's still the most, I think it's one of the greatest songs ever. It's going to be on one of my, whenever I ever do Desert Island Discs. But, you know, the bands that have covered that, you know, it was just like, Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young did a version, REO Speedwagon, John Mellencamp, The Hollies. I mean,
John Mellencamp did it. I was really surprised with that. He talked really well of it, you know. I still would love to get together with John, because he's a real class act. I mean, I've always loved his songwriting and that, you know. That would be a good
I'm amazed that hasn't happened. I'm surprised he hasn't reached out to you. Yeah. But anyway.
Were you really 14, Terry? Were you 14 when you wrote that?
Well, it's very unusual. I'll tell you, once upon a time, this is how that started. Well, it's how it finished. I'm talking retrospect now. I didn't remember exactly when I wrote the song, you know. But I just had these memories of me and Graham Nash talking about when we first met. Well, when I first met him, put it that way, because he was obviously in the Hollies, well on their way. It was the Hollies, Beatles, and everybody. And I was doing support gigs, and Graham kept correcting me that we met when I was 14. That was the first time that I did a support gig, and I thought it was later than that. Then just recently, just to put this in perspective, is God bless my mother passed away, okay, in England, and which meant we had to take everything out of the house to put it on the market, right? So, I could say you wouldn't believe it, but of course you would. I mean, there is stuff from 1865, not 70, not 1965. There was stuff there that had been since I was a kid. Now, and there's things you start thinking, I wonder if she kept my stamp book. What happened to the train set? You know, you think about all those things, right? And a lot of it's all gone, as you know. And then as we're rustling through stuff, I find in a box, I find all my school books. My writing was a lot better then, you know. And all these pictures I'd drawn and paintings and stuff, and big stack. And then I suddenly picked this one book up, and I open it up, and there's 3-4 songs, lyrics, written in it. And I figured out, well, wait a second here, I'm still at school. Because the way things happened was, I was at school, then I'd left, you know, the summer holidays came up, right? And you had a decision there at 15, just before 15, where I was in November, to leave school, start an apprenticeship, or join a pottery school. For that's one thing I got a grab for, mate, and everything. So what am I going to do? Well, I went on the road with the Stones. I know. I mean, I know everybody, say, how did you get started in the business? I tell them that, and they look at me sideways like look, get out of here. Was this with Peter J and the Jaywalkers? Yeah, with Peter. See, I joined Peter J in the summer holidays, right? And out of the blue, Keith and Mick sort of decided they wanted us to do the tour. Right?
But weren't the tours still package tours then? Or was it just the Stones?
Yeah. That was with Ike and Tina Turner and the Yardbirds. Right.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah, it's with Jimmy.
Well,
with Jimmy
John
Page.
Bowles we called them World War III. Right. But, you know, so there was all this old cast of characters. I was on the bus with Ike and Tina Turner. That's how I got to know them so well, you know, and Tina and that. So we did all that. But 1 minute, you know, when you watch all that stuff on TV of the riots and...
Yeah, because you played the Royal Albert Hall with the Stones when there was the big riot.
That was the first gig. Right. That was the first gig. Didn't get very far. I think the Stones did 2.5 songs. There was a riot and everybody got hurt, you know. But looking at it on TV, you're all sitting there giggling. But when you're on the other side, it's not so funny. Right. I got stepped on with a high heel and everybody run for their lives. I mean, I said to Brian Jones, is it like this every night? He goes, well, we hope so. I go, oh my God. And lo and behold, it was like that. So I wouldn't say it was a lot to do with music. I mean, you'd hear the song start and then you never heard anything else. Right. Yeah. With the screaming that. So that was a hell of an introduction in, you know, going professional, as they say. You know, I don't know what they mean by that, but it was a lot of fun. I mean, God almighty, you just didn't see it coming.
How were the Jaywalkers going down?
Yeah, well, we went down great. You know, I mean, I was just singer, but playing guitar, and we had horns, and Peter with his drums flashing on and off, and that. You know,
horns. So you had a big band.
Well, not big.
Right.
Yeah, it's about 7, right? Which is big at the time.
That's a big band.
That's big. That's a big band then.
Peter J. Was he paying you well? What was, you know, you were just a kid from school.
Yeah, he's a wonderful guy, Peter. I mean, I still to this day, I go and see him, and we still sit and have a good old talk about things, you know. And Peter's family was always in entertainment. His father was an impresario. His grandmother was an impresario and they own all of the, in Great Yarmouth, the windmill and the aquarium and the hippodrome, right, which Peter still runs in Great Yarmouth, right? So I walked into a very established entertainment family.
Dynasty.
Right? Yeah, dynasty, yeah. Exactly. You know. And his father, Jack J, was a real character. I mean, Lord Almighty.
So someone who's going to come into your life a bit later was on that gig as well. So Jimmy Page was in the New Yardbirds, right? That was
yeah. He was. That's when I first met Jim.
So this is when he's hearing your voice and he's thinking, you know.
Yeah. He said somebody was doing an interview with him. It's very unusual, actually. I mean, other than all the crap that goes with all that whole deal, is that they were talking to him and said, what were you doing on the such and such a day in 1966 or something? You know, when he asked you, what were you doing on this day? And he said, well, that's funny you should say that. He said, I was thinking about that. He said, that was the first time I heard Terry sing. And they said, Terry who? Right? You know. And he said, oh, Terry Reid. He said, that's the first time I heard him sing. And it stuck with me. Right? I thought that was to me, that whole thing, that was an ultimate compliment, you know. That
on this day.
Unbeknownst to us all, that was like 65, 66. He was already thinking about things, you know, because the Yardbirds with Jeff Beck and the Jimmy Page in it, I mean, wasn't going to last too long. It was like war back there, you know. Great guys. I mean, you know, Chris Ralph, and, you know, Jim Yardbird. Jim Mackay. I always called him Jim Yardbird. He's the funniest guy. God almighty. What a funny guy. All them guys was just fantastic. Paul Samuel Smith and, you know. I mean, the great memories of that whole thing. So, yeah, we did that too. That's when we first met, you know. Then he was in the studio when we were doing an album later on with Mickey Most. Right, he was doing, as you well know, he was doing all sorts of session stuff. Right. So I bumped into him a lot.
He worked at Rack, didn't he? When Mickey's studio.
Yeah, that's it. That's where we were at Rack and at Delane Lee studio.
And of course, that's where John Paul Jones was doing a lot of sessions up at Rack at the same time.
That's right. Well, that's how they sort of knew each other, because the Donovan. See, John was playing all the things on Donovan's records. So it's funny, you know everybody at that.
Well, so let's jump to that story, Terry, because he asks you to be the singer of this new band, doesn't he, at some point? And
well, yeah, he asked a whole bunch of different people. I mean, he was fishing, you know, trying to put a band together. And I said to Peter Grant, so what's going on? He said, well, if he calls it the New Yardbirds, he said, I want nothing to do with it anymore. I'm cancelling the contract. He said, because every time I go to bed at night and I hear the word Yardbirds, I don't sleep for 2 days. Hey, he was funny about it. But he said to me, you know, he's got a bunch of different people he's interested in, and he wants you to do it. And this whole new Yardbirds I'm not going for. It was another Yardbirds thing, right? So, and they were looking around at what they were going to do. And then I was on the road doing some gigs. And I done a couple of gigs with this group called the Band of Joy, who were like...
That was my next question. Next was so brilliant. Yeah, carry on, yes.
Well, they were rough and ready. I mean, Bonham was already well out of control, you know. I mean, and... So I'm watching them and watching all the trouble going down. He threw a chair through a friggin' window. And Dudley threw. I mean, there's all these things. And I thought, you know what? These guys are real rock and roll. And then we did this one particular gig in Buxton with Tim Rose, right? Which is funny because Robert and me still laugh about it. Robert still likes to do that song, Walk Me Out in the Morning too.
Robert Plant, yeah.
That comes from that one night that we worked with Tim Rose, and we all loved that song, see. So I went, you know what, Tim, if you're going to do this thing, and you want a real power thing, and you need a singer that sings around the style of your guitar playing, the licks, and not necessarily pentatonic licks. I just mean what you got going on. You need to do that swap backwards and forwards thing, right? I said, I just saw a guy the other night who is a dead ringer. He's right on it, you know. And I said, not only that, you got to get the drummer because he's just total trouble. I said, he fits right into that mold, Ginger Baker, and all what we're used to, you know. I said, he's got the power. He uses like tree trunks and sticks, you know. It's like, I said, you got to do it, right? So he said, what do they look like? I said, what do you mean, what does he look like? I said, he looks like a Greek god, you know. What do you mean, what does he look like? I said, you got to check him out. So we finally, me and Peter Grinder, pushed the issue for him to try him out, because it meant trying out 2 people, see. So it wasn't like
you were on the road with the Stones, weren't you, at the time?
Yeah, well, I was just going on the road with the Stones and everything. I said, when we get back, if you want to give it a try or something or other, we could do something. Oh, no, I've got to do it now. So I thought, well, I appreciate you're in a hurry. But I said, try these guys out. You never know. Because we all know when you're auditioning a band, you've all been through this too. You never know what's going to work, right? What you think is going to, it's like they always say when you go in the studio, do an album, the song that you think is going to be #1 and it's going to sound absolutely fantastic. And why are we doing anything else? I mean, you get in there and it sounds like shit. that one song is like, God, what happened, right? And then another song that was just laying around ends up being the one that you can hang a hat on. So you never know with bands here. And that's before you get the personality.
Terry, but if you were on the road with the Stones at that period, was that the Stones tour? I know you didn't do Altamont, but was that at the beginning of that Gimme Shelter movie? They're at Madison Square Gardens, and it's and they're backstage. So you were backstage. Jimi Hendrix came to that, didn't he? Did you? He was on that.
Yeah.
So I think we just need some idea of what it was like to be on the road with the Rolling Stones and Jimmy.
Oh my God! What do you mean one idea? Of course, true. Well, it's amazing. You suddenly realise what have you got yourself into. And that the first time I toured when it was a Screamer tour, was a bit different because you got in and out with your life kind of thing, and it was more a survival situation. Now in '69 when we did that tour, me and Keith and Mickey, we talk about, we did this before. Good to see you. Oh, great, nice to see you doing, how about this? Here we are again. Remember when we did this? And, we're doing all that. And, but we're going along in '69, and it's not that kind of tour. But there's all this militant sort of thing underground going on, the Vietnam War, right? Mm. And you've got guys coming back from the war who are, displaced, which is a sad thing, And people, they were never really treated right. I mean, they were conscripted to go. I mean, it wasn't like you had a choice, right? Yeah. So it was a bit rough with this undercurrent going on. And so Keith came to me and said, do you want to do Altamont? We were at Boston. We were doing Boston Garden, right? And that's the big arena. And he came at me and said, we said, do you want to do it? He said, we'll pay for it. So it's a non-paying gig, but I said, well, look, you're paying me, and that's not the point. I said, well, I've heard a few people have called me and said, it's hitting the fan there already. There was the day before, there was guns going off and stuff happening, right? So I got the wind, and Keith said, yeah, I know, I've heard it too. He said, I don't particularly want to go myself. I said, well, I think you're better, or there will be hell on, right? He said, the only thing that worried him, he said, that worries me, he said, this whole thing of the Angels doing security. And I looked at him and went, what? Now, this started off. I have to tell you, whether you know this or not, do you know how that originated with the Angels doing security?
No, I can't remember.
Right. Well, Bill Graham, okay, so you got the Fillmore West there, Winterland, right? We were all getting gear stole at the airport. We'd all fly in with all the gear on freight, and we'd go to the gig, and we'd look down at the stage behind us for the amps, and there's the twin reverb missing. Right, And I go, who the bloody hell is that? I haven't seen it. Right. Or there's a Super Showman missing. It's a little hard to run out the building with a Super Showman on your shoulder. So I'm going, what the hell's going on? We said, everybody's really complaining about this. These drums missing on other bands and all this. And it's happening at the Pratt at the airport when he comes in. Like, Bill Graham's having a fit because he has to rent all this gear, right? And then you haven't got it for the next gig. So He said, I don't know what to do about this. He says, and then he came in one day and he said, I got it. I'm going to get the Angels, right, the Oakland division, right, who run all the drugs and run everything in Northern California. Right? Anyway, I'm going to get them. They've got a building up in Northern California, in Mill Valley, I think, right, where they keep their bikes and everything, and they repair everything. Now, the thing is, he said, they've got these dogs. He's telling me this story. They've got these dogs there that you wouldn't even want to go near. He said, they're like something out of a movie, right? You know, all these pit bulls and rip. He said, that's what we'll do. We'll get them to pick up the gear at the airport and take it up there and put it in their building till the next day for the gig. After that, never lost a thing. Never lost your guitar cord after that, right? Yeah. So that's how it all started.
And then someone gets murdered, yeah.
He got them to look after things and we never lost any more, right? So they eventually did find out, you know, what was going on with freight and things. But by that time, you know, they'd earned a fortune selling the gear. But that went on and on and on. So by the time we all went bye-bye and then when we finally were coming back for the Altamont, they couldn't get Candlestick Park. They wouldn't give them a license for it. So a lot of the places they wanted to do the gig, open air concert, it had got to the point where people were not keen on open air concerts. It was looking like trouble anywhere, right? So they got that Altamont Raceway out in Oakland, which is a drag strip, really. That's what they use it for dragsters, top fuel cars. And that's the only place they would rent. So they rented that and they let the Angels. The rumor was, which I know is true because you watched the movie, that Bill paid the Angels in drugs and booze.
Oh, it's terrifying. The film is absolutely terrifying.
It's actually fucking terrifying. Every time I watch it, I look at Mick Jagger's face. Yeah. And that's the most terrified I've seen Mick all the time.
But isn't there, guys, isn't there something in it that Mick says something to the crowd?
Well, there is that thing that, because I think Keith's clearly just smacked out and doesn't really know what's going on. And so he's playing something and they stop. But there's this great moment where Mick's trying to stop, you know, get them to listen to him. But Keith's Keith's still playing. He's going, look, brothers, sisters, why are we... Keith. Anyway, look, brother, but Keith.
Yeah, I know. It's like Keith don't give a damn, you know. I mean, they'll talk about show goes on. Never would.
Terry, I just want, because you've had some. You started off with Mickey Most producing you down at Rack. You mentioned that, and we all know what Mickey Most must have been like. It was quite an extraordinary character, but. I mean,
what does that mean, extraordinary?
Well, I mean, obviously you had some serious running. I mean, listen,
you had a falling out, didn't you? Yeah, you had a falling out, didn't you?
It wasn't just me. I had a bunch of rock-ins with him. I just told him to shove it, and at the time, everybody says maybe it wasn't the right thing to do because he affected your career, and which is you got lawyers in and everything, but sometimes you got to stick to your guns on what you're doing. You know, I mean, musically. He wasn't going, you know, where I was going. He wanted to, I know, I'd ended up like Engelbert. Well, not that I have anything against Tom Jones or Engelbert Humperdinck, but he was seriously wanting to go that way, right?
When we were kids, young kids in the 70s, when we discovered Mickey Most was a name you just associated with pop, with Big Pop. We didn't really know he had this actually much cooler starting point, you know.
Very true. Because also he did Donovan,
right?
Donovan, yeah.
And in fact,
Don,
your nickname comes from a Donovan song, doesn't it? Superlungs, My Supergirl.
You know, okay, it's a good one for you. Loved it, right? So, Mickey's looking for a song for me, blaze up the chart. And he talks that way. He goes, we got to get something that's a surefire hit. So I'm in the office. I said, well, I got to go now. Right. Anyway, so I go. Now, me and Graham Nash were going down to the countryside where Don lived out in, I think it was Epping Forest. It was out in the woods in the middle of nowhere. Right. And Don had this cottage called Bird's Nest Cottage. I thought, oh, that's cute. That sounds like something new. When we turned up, it looked like a friggin' bird nest. I go, That's unbelievable. Whoever thought of that? It was totally, you could see mushrooms growing in the garden and everything, right? So me and Gray would go down there. Gray said to me, so can you believe it? And we asked Don, did you build it? So up his street.
Yeah.
He said, no, I found it. So we go down there and we'd play songs and sit on cushions and smoke big joints, enormous big joints, right? And Don always had a brick of something, So we had a load of fun. And one day Don said, you know what, Terry? I got this song that I've written called Superlungs, My Super Girl. He said, Mickey won't let me do it. And so me and Gray said, well, play it. What do you mean? He said, well, it's about a 14-year-old schoolgirl who rolls joints in the class and doesn't want to listen to anybody. And she's looking out the window and her whole life is a dream. And that. I said, oh, you mean like us?
You couldn't do that now, could you?
He said, yeah, sort of, right. So he goes, yeah, but Mickey won't let me do it. And it's so current. That's what's going on. So Don's having a fit. And I said, oh, well, I'm sorry about that, So we go on. A few days later, I said, well, why weren't you? At the time, he said, well, Mickey won't let me do it. He said, it'll ruin my reputation. I said, what? I said, you roll the best joints in England. What are you talking about? How can it ruin your reputation? So you see how Mickey would sort of try and channel things for what they were not.
I just want to go down. I went down a little rabbit hole, Guy. It's not very deep, put it this way. But there was, I think Mickey got you. There was a keyboard player you played with at that point. It was called Pete Shelley, right?
Yeah,
and not the Buzzcocks Pete Shelley, but Pete Shelley was the voice of Alvin Stardust on My Cuckoo.
Really?
But he didn't want to front it, so he found
Wayne Fenton.
Shane Fenton.
Yeah, Shane Fenton.
And when Shane appeared on Top of the Pops doing My Cuckoo, that was to Pete Shelley's voice.
Well, you got me on that one. He never said that.
Because that was all sort of rack people, I think, wasn't it?
Well, I was trying to get Nugent, right? From the Zombies, right?
Argent.
Red Argent. I'm sorry.
Ted Nugent.
Rod Argent.
Ted Nugent. No, please. No. I was singing about
Rod Argent.
Rod Argent was the Zombies that broke up, and he was trying to decide whether he was going to do an album or what he was going to do, and he's the loveliest guy. God, he's just the sweetest guy. And I said, well, look, I'm putting this band together. Would you be interested? So he got interested. And then he decided he was going to do a solo career, and he's going to make albums and things, which God bless him, And he said, but there's this guy, Pete Shelley, you should definitely check him out. I think he's one of the best organists in England, because we'd had different organists in the band. And I think, what was it? We rehearsed at, not the Albert Hall, somewhere. We had a run through, and that was it. I said, that's it. If you want to do it, I'm in, right? And he joined the band immediately before we did a tour in the States, right? He was brilliant.
Do you know your friend Marianne Faithfull, Guy?
Yes.
She covered
Rich Kid Blues. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you mean, Marianne Faithfull, Guy?
No, she's a dear friend. I go and see her. She's up in I go and see her.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, give her my love.
Absolutely will.
God, I
absolutely. She's fabulous.
I know. She is the funniest band. She's one of the funniest girls I've met in my life. One time I was over in England and she was in Paris and we got on the phone for about an hour. Oh my God! And I
can believe that.
Yeah, my side was killing me when I got off the phone. She's lovely.
You're very droll.
She did Rich Kid.
Yeah.
She did that. Yeah, very, very. She did Rich Kid Blues, which really surprised me. And that was that great album with Steve Winwood.
That's right, yeah.
Was it Broken English? Yeah, right. Yeah. That was a killer album.
That was a brilliant album. Very, very important record. But yeah, you had... we need to... I feel we're not getting enough of you, Terry, of your career. There's so...
Yeah, because so many anecdotes of all the people you were hanging out with.
Yeah.
You're right, Guy. I mean, I think because
when you look at it like that, you know, I was very lucky. You can't plan these things. No. Everybody says, well, we plan this, we plan. You can't plan these things. It was like, once you start in one thing, now it all started that when I was 15. And then from then on, living in London and getting to know people, and you get on with different people. Like Steve Marriott was like a mate of mine who I adored Steve. He was a funny. Well, he said, I said to him, you know what, you remind me of somebody, and I'm not sure what it is. And he said, well, when I said, how did you start in the business? He said, well, I was in Oliver. I went, that's it. I said, don't tell me what part you play. That's it, because you're still playing it.
But Steve, Guy, I mean, Steve is a good example. You come from a particular world of white vocalists, blokes who, you know, working class blokes who can sing.
Yeah, I like that.
In the way you do. I mean, you and Steve, obviously, I can see the similarity.
Oh, God, he's you know, I mean, I love that. And Frankie Miller.
Oh, yes.
And, Frankie is like, I love Frankie. And, I mean, actually, Frank is responsible for, you know, from a lot of styles in England of different people. Every time I hear Paul Rodgers or every time I hear Rod Stewart, actually, I mean, there's certain licks that are not American licks. There's a singer, you know yourself. There are certain licks that, no, that American bloke wouldn't be doing that. You won't do it. No, it's similar. You learn it from that guy, but it's not the same thing. Yeah. And but Frankie Miller would pull those licks.
I love Frankie Miller.
Brilliant.
Frankie Miller's Full House.
Yeah.
I would say in the mid-70s, Terry, there was one person who you were kind of on a similar tack to for a while. I would say, I don't know if you knew each other. It was Robert Palmer. That Sneak and Sally period.
Yeah, I knew Robert. Yeah, God, yeah. Right. Oh, no. You see, there you go. I mean, Robert was a real class act, too. See, I know him through Chris Blackwell that I mentioned earlier when it was at Ireland, and Chris was... Chris, I knew Robert, and Robert on me again. I said, what? He said, want me to make a rock and roll record? I know, Terry, it's like you. I want to play Latin music. Yeah. I want to play, you know, country and all this. I said, well, tell him. He said, I did, and he almost fired me. I said, well, what do you mean? He said, well, he wants me to play rock and roll again, like Vinegar Joe. Right? Yeah. You see, I've known him since then. And I said, well, go on, give him one or something, you know, for a bit. No. And then he put that album out where he was doing all Brazilian stuff, and that was way back. That didn't go. And then later on, when I'd sort of forgotten about it, I hadn't seen him in a long while, he came, that Addicted to Love. And I went, oh, shit, that's it. I bet Chris is over the moon.
Fantastic. You know? And you're going to be playing, aren't you, at Ronnie Scott's soon?
Yeah, we're playing at Ronnie Scott's on, what's it again? Yeah, it's on the 20th is the date.
Of June?
I know we're playing the day before we're playing that Blues Kitchen up in Manchester. No, Oh, no, hang on. Let me talk to my manager.
Just doing Ronnie Scott's in the fall.
Oh, in the fall I'm doing the Blues Kitchen. That's right. We changed it around.
Guy, we should go along.
We should go along. We should absolutely go along. Do you know what? I just want to tell you, for some reason, I had to text David Gilmour about something earlier, and I said I was about to speak to you. And I've just had a text from him saying, I saw David Lindley playing with Terry at the Revolution Club in the late 60s. They were both great. Both great.
Right, yeah.
Oh, amazing.
Oh, David, yeah. David, we go way back, is that we were the founders of the Roundhouse.
That's right. Cool.
Yeah. I mean, I did that so many times, and it was the Floyd and that. There was the whole thing to renovate, stop that bloody roof leaking, you know? Yeah. We were all in on that with Jeff Dexter and all these people.
Yeah. Wow.
And I got them to book the Doors and the Jefferson Airplane to come over. And it was a lot of fun, that, working with them.
I think you're probably responsible for more transatlantic flights, Terry, than...
Yeah. Before we go, I do just want to mention that you did an album with Trevor Horn, didn't you? In in the 90s, which your voice on that album, by the way, sounds so good. The track The Driver, I mean, your voice in that is...
Oh, yeah, that was great. Yeah, that's with Hans Zimmer. Yeah.
Oh, was it? Did Hans produce that one?
Well, it's funny because Trevor and Hans were in that group, The Art of Noise, originally.
No, Hans wasn't in The Art of Noise, I don't think.
Oh, he wasn't?
No.
I thought you should...
No.
Well, they were in something
Trevor
together
was definitely
earlier
involved
on.
in it. Trevor was involved in it.
Something like that, right? Anyway, my point was not they were togetherness. It's a point they weren't. The point was is that Trevor told me he comes up and he says, "I've got this backing track demo that he says I've been working on for this movie, this Tom Cruise movie, right? And Hans has written this demo, it's a rough demo, and it needs a song and a vocal on it." I said, I'm your guy. Well, let me have a listen to it and see what it is. He puts this thing on. I almost swallowed my tongue. I'm sitting there listening, this is a demo?
Right.
Yeah, Trevor, yeah.
Holy shit.
Took him 12 weeks.
Sound. I go, that's the most beautiful thing I've seen. And all the rhythm changes. I said, now, wow, we got to write a song to this, eh? I said, okay. Sounds like an all-night job here or about a week. He said, no, it's an all-night job. I said, why? He said, we got to be in studio at 11 tomorrow. I said, what? I said, okay, so we did. We stayed up, and I wrote the song in 24 hours, right? And then I had to go in and figure out how I'm going to sing all these parts without rushing them. You know how that is when you're singing a part and you're going from one transition rhythm to another. You don't want to jump in too quick, with the words and things. You've got to pace the words without following the track. It was mentally, I was literally having a breakdown.
It's a great song.
We got in and we cut it 11 o'clock the next morning. And it was literally more or less one take. But there was a couple of words that Trevor wasn't happy with, so we used the second tape. Trevor is, I like to be a perfectionist, but Trevor is, well, boy, oh, mate, I mean...
Yeah. We've all worked with Trevor.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
Have you got any new music coming up, Terry?
Well, yeah, I just built a studio, actually, in the other room here, and I've been working on all different kinds. I've got so many tunes that I haven't recorded in a while. So, and especially over COVID, that all confused things, couldn't go work and things. So I was writing all through that period. So and then nobody wanted to go in the studio because it's like, you can't sing with a mask on, it's one of them deals. So it's all started to level, now it's leveled out a bit. So there's a couple of studios I'm working at out here in the desert, which are really nice. And I built one for demoing things at home. So I'm dying to do a new album. It's just, there's all these different kinds of songs, country songs to R&B. So I have a whole section of R&B things. Also a lot of Western material, like.
That's a quiet passion of yours, isn't it?
Yeah, I know I do. When I do Ronnie Scott's, I love doing things like 310 to Yuma, right? And dong 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 dong. And it's funny because we all love a good English guys. That's like we die for a good Western.
I actually think your voice sometimes reminds me of Richard Hawley. Do you know him?
No, I don't know Richard.
Yeah, young, but he's in his 50s now. I guess he's an English artist, beautiful songwriter. I think you'd
really like him. You check him out. You should check him out.
I'll check him out. Yeah.
Thank you, Terry.
Oh, right.
I feel there's I know we've kept you much longer than we were allowed to as well. So
good. There you go. Well, get it on there. I'll be on the shop floor.
While you're on, I just want to say that Seed of Memory is one of the greatest albums. I mean, what a beautiful record that is. I mean, some of the tracks on there.
Thanks. Yeah.
To be treated right. To be treated right.
That was. Yeah. I mean, doing that album was amazing because it was. You do different albums or you work with different people on albums and you get to put up with things. Yeah, well, yeah, okay, they'll sort it out later, and all this, and the different idiosyncrasies. But working on See the Memory was the most fun I ever had working on an album. I never knew it could be that simple. I mean, and Graham Nash had my back on the whole thing, you know.
Yeah, he produced
the thing is, Graham was funny. He said, look, you go in there and sing. I'll be in here behind the window. I've got you covered. I'm going to watch everything with Al Schmidt, right? Got pretty covered. And I'll watch everything. You stay in there. I'm here, right? And away we go. I get singing, so I sing through the first take of one song. I forget what it was. And Graham comes in and he goes, fantastic. It's a tape. You know what? Hear a harmony on that.
Of course he did.
I turned around and looked at him and went, you, a harmony? He goes, yeah. It was just magic, you know. He's a gem. I must admit, he became a mentor to me, you know. I mean, just as a person.
And that was just from going up to him at a gig, wasn't it? You went up and asked him about his amp or something, didn't you? When you were 14?
Yeah. Well, I was backstage looking before they packed the gear up, and they were so good, the Hollies. And I'm looking behind the amps, like, you know, they got to have some gear back there. These can't be regular Fenders and everything. What's it going? And all of a sudden, somebody goes, "Oi, yeah, what are you doing?" And I went, "Oh, nothing. It's Graham." And I said, "But you can't sound good. You were just straight Fenders." He goes, "Let's bring your Fender amps." I went, "You serious?" Right? So he goes, "Oh, the guys will love that." So he goes and tells Tony Hicks and tells the other guys, you know, guess what, Terry? He thinks we got a load of gear in there. I thought that was cool, but they did.
And I can't believe, within weeks they were covering one of your songs.
Yeah.
I know. I never knew the Hollies did it for years and years later. You know, it's funny.
God, amazing.
Yeah.
Listen, I think we should go to Ronnie Scott.
We should absolutely go to Ronnie Scott. So
come on down. Come on down. It'd be lovely to see you.
And everyone else who's not got a ticket, who hasn't seen Terry yet, should go.
Yeah, absolutely.
And check out all the records as well, because they're absolutely amazing.
You're very kind, man. Really. I really appreciate it.
Well, it's been a joy, Terry. Absolute joy, mate. Thank you so much.
Well, great, man. It's my pleasure. You know.
Thank you. We'll see you in June.
Yeah, come on down. It would be lovely to see you.
Wow. Witness to so much.
But the funny thing is, I think, not the funny thing, but just the thing, in terms of actually getting a proper sense of his career and everything he's done, I think that's probably the least information we've ever got on the Rockonteurs.
Well,
but what we got was a load of just fantastic.
Yeah. You know, you were transported back to those times.
Exactly.
And you know, he's a very humble person because, you know, he's not had the success that a lot of those acts he was talking about have had. And yet, if you listen to his songwriting, listen to his voice, and the people who know, they know. You know, he's got all the chops, hasn't he?
He's got all the chops. But that's also why I think there's a parallel between him and Jeff Beck.
Yeah. Wow. So that's another one off the bucket list of people that we want on. He did mention, and we've got to say, get Graham Nash for us.
I did think of that. I just wondered if I could put that. Yeah, because you know what? This is the other lovely thing, is how he's still mates with everyone.
Yeah.
You know, that's so nice. It can be done.
Peter J is still alive.
Yeah,
you know, this is pre the Beatles.
Fantastic. It was Great Yarmouth Windmill or something.
The Hippodrome.
Yes, of course.
Anyway, listen, thank you for listening, and obviously check us out on all the social media stuff, and please leave comments. We really love them. We always read them, don't we?
We do. We
take them to bed
fastidiously.
Get them printed. I get them scribed out.
You do? You can stop sending me those tablets, though, because they weigh a ton, and they're filling up the garden.
Yeah, but sorry. You mean the sort of Moses type tablets?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I meant.
Yeah. So listen, thank you to Ben Jones at Gimme Sugar for producing us. Anything else, Guy?
That's all I can think of, except for keep it right here. We'll be back with someone I don't know about equally as fabulous, because that was fabulous, but certainly fabulous.
Yes, next week. Good night from me.
And good night from them.
Rockonteurs is produced by Gimme Sugar Productions for Warner Music Group UK.